Ladies and gentlemen, this is Javier with the real Javier Novoa, and we have on once again the great Ashley Douglas, who is a clairvoyant. She's a seer, and I just wanted her to say a few words about this situation that we find ourselves in. Of course, over the last few weeks, we've been in a conflict with Iran, and the energy does seem a bit anxious. For the first few days of this conflict, I was very anxious. And in fact, I had a few days where I just had to sort of withdraw and meditate a little bit. And I'm pretty good now, but I just wanted to have Ashley on to explain some of her seeing and her thoughts on this. So how are you doing, Ashley? It's a long time since we've had you on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me back. I'm doing really well, and I'm just so excited to be invited to talk to you about this because I've had some, as I was saying to you before we started, some interesting experiences with this recently, and just have gotten some good insights from Spirit about it. And so, yeah, it'll be good to talk about that today.
Yes, because as you come from a heavily Christian background, and we've read articles recently about the fact that there's this sort of apocalyptic era about all this. In fact, it's been said that American commanders, some of them have been telling their soldiers, well, you're here to bring about the second coming of Christ, and this is apocalyptic. As well as we have several speakers talking about apocalyptic convergence, where like the Muslim apocalyptic teachings, the Christian apocalyptic teachings, the Orthodox apocalyptic teachings all seem to converge on this area. And I just want to know what you think about that. What are your thoughts on the apocalyptic teachings in general? Is it all symbolic, or are there some prophecies that are going to come out literally on this?
That's a really good question. So, I think the best way to interpret this is when we talk about Christ and Christ consciousness. Um, what Jesus was referring to in the Bible when he spoke about Christ consciousness is this understanding that we are human beings having or a spirit having a human experience. And so basically, the thing about being a spirit having a human experience is that we are really detached from the body mind. In the spiritual realm, people kind of consider the spirit and the body mind separate. Obviously, we're one right now, and we're having a spiritual experience, our human experience as a spirit. But that Christ consciousness in us is that God nature in us. And so when we talk about the second coming of Christ, really what that is referring to is an awakening that human beings are having to the God nature in them. And every time that people awaken to the God nature in them, it is a very unifying thing that happens. And really, as spirit, we are all one. And we choose to come here as humans and have a human experience, and we each have our own kind of identity. But really, our spirit with other people, spirit is not separate at all, ever. Right. And so when the Bible talks about, and I'm referring to the Bible because we were talking about second coming of Christ and things like that. But when Jesus says, I am in the Father and he is in me, that's what that means, is we are a spirit having a human experience. And so me, Ashley, talking to you, Javier, it is me talking to me and you talking to you. And that is the second coming of Christ, this awareness that we are all one, this awareness of our spiritual nature as people. Astrology calls that the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is a much more mystical type of understanding of who we are as spirit. And so a lot of the religious texts talk about the second coming of Christ, or the age of Aquarius, which is coming upon us now, and just a shift in society. And when things shift, you typically see this type of warfare environment where, another way to put it, a lot of the spiritual people are talking about kind of this overly aggressive type of culture we've had as a world for a really long time is coming into balance with the more spiritual, softer aspects of our beingness. So the spirit and the man are really merging into one. Another way to look at that is the more masculine energy and the more feminine energy are coming into union and balance. And so at the very end of it, it's kind of like gnashing its teeth and trying to gain control. But what I know about all of this is that the second coming and the age of Aquarius and all the things that it's called is really bringing on a peaceful situation for all of us. And what I'm seeing in the spiritual community, what I'm seeing with just anybody, is that people are really coming into their own gifts. People are now being thrust onto a more prominent stage for their talents and skills. And they're starting to really step into something that brings them joy and lights them up. That is the age of Aquarius. That is the second coming of Christ, our awareness of our beingness. So I know I don't know if that's too complicated or if that makes sense to you at all.
Well,
But
it makes
nothing to fear, right?
Sure, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of spiritual teachers have been talking about the fact that we're going into the age of Aquarius, and even Jesus talks about the end of the age. Is that what we're talking about here?
That's it.
This new
That's
age?
exactly it.
And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no.
Yeah, it's basically like there's nothing to fear. All of it's gentle and all of it's meant to be loving. And even though there are really crazy things going on in the world right now, what you're seeing is a dismantling of a type of leadership that was existing without compassion, empathy, and reciprocity with people. And you're seeing an ushering in of we're speaking about Iran,
Sure.
the Iranian people, the women, this is about women's rights, right? And so being able to usher in a more empathetic and compassionate form of leadership, men or women, regardless of what it is, right? That is the transition, is moving from power and dominance into compassion and empathy and joy and peace. Albeit you're seeing some gnashing of teeth, big time.
Sure. And a lot of spiritual teachers have talked about the fact that the age of Aquarius is like an age where you can't hide everything or you can't hide anything. Everything's being brought out into the open. Is that what we're seeing here as well? And are we going to be seeing a transition for them and also for us? Some of the unsavory aspects of our system as well? Are they coming to light?
I think that's a really interesting question. And the best way I think I can answer that is I think everybody in the past couple of years, 2025 was in the Chinese zodiac, the year of the snake shedding. It's a big shedding process. And I
That's
think everybody
interesting.
can think about, isn't it? Right? Everybody I tell that to is like, whoa, because, I think everyone has had a pivotal shedding moment in their last couple of years, if not last year specifically. And so what it's doing is bringing our not so ideal patterns to light so that we can shed those patterns and we can finally learn those lessons and put those behind us. And so I think that in my own life, I have experienced the men that I work with, the women that I'm working with just day to day, people have had a big transition from kind of leading with, I don't want to say domination is not the right word, but a more masculine type of way of leading. And those people, man or woman, who have moved into compassion, empathy, and really a softer way of being in the world are being promoted. And the people that are leading with a harsh tone are kind of being outmoded. I'm not going to say, it's not doomsday, certainly. I think it's just, and I've actually seen the people who were leading in a more masculine way make personal changes, and they're actually experiencing promotions in their life. And so I think that there are people who are really fed up with what's going on in the world in all aspects. And they're like, well, this person just needs to get out and this person needs to get out. And perhaps the age of Aquarius is bringing about, the year of the snake ending helped us shed some patterns, and the age of Aquarius is bringing on change in people. And you may be surprised at what you see from people.
Sure, and many business people I've interviewed are talking about the fact that with even this AI coming out, there's a lot of decentralization. It's like you have to have very small teams, and you're not just going to have one person dominate. You're going to have more people taking responsibility for their own decisions and so on. So it's interesting that you would say that from this perspective.
It's a really good point. I think we're in a period of collaboration. I think that moving forward, community and collaboration are going to be valuable. Monetarily is what the word I'm looking for. Valuable. And people who are like, it's not like competition. It's like, okay, let's work together and let's make this cool project. And I think that the structures of money and really just kind of a scarcity type of mindset in the world is shifting. I think our financial systems are shifting, and I think what people do is they innately get afraid because they're not seeing what's to come. But what I know about what's to come is that it's love and it's peace and it's good things for everybody. And so, do you remember when I remember this specifically when the internet started really taking off and the news was now on the internet? People were so afraid of the newspaper going away.
Oh, yes, I
And
remember. Were you born in
right,
the 80s?
I was 84. Yep,
Oh, 85. So we're
85.
both
Yeah,
80s babies, right?
yeah.
I
So it's
remember.
like,
Yeah, we're the only
yeah.
generation that remembers without the internet, growing up without the internet, and then getting it right.
Okay, so I'm going to bookmark what you just said because it's super important. I love that you just
Okay.
said that. So people were really afraid of the newspaper going away. Now, the newspaper actually hasn't completely gone away. There are people who still read the newspaper and they enjoy that, and good for them. But the advent of how we consume news is way better, right? It works way
It is.
better. And the newspaper, people can still read their newspaper and be just fine, right? That's all just fine. I think what people get is they get afraid when they don't see the future, what the future holds yet. They assume the worst. But I think the mindset needs to be what's coming is really good for everybody.
We have
And
to have that.
right, wouldn't you agree that the way we're living and like it's just like, man, people are having a hard time making it, right? It's like it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
So your point about transitions, we've lived through the non-internet and the internet. Something that Spirit was telling me before we came on was like, as a spirit having a human experience, we've been given this opportunity to, in this specific time, to live through so many different changes, right? And while it's been rather painful at times, it's also been profoundly amazing to live through these vast changes to our culture, and to be able to adapt and thrive. And I mean, that's just something remarkable.
And it's like Joe Dispenza talks about, we're always trying to predict. It's when you step into the unknown that all the good things happen.
Yes, that's right.
That's what.
And right. So if you move into the unknown, you can create that good thing for yourself by like thinking about it and visualizing it and whatever it wants to be. And not to say that like you're in trouble if you've been fearful. We've all been fearful. I think that's a normal response to what's happening.
Exactly. And so that's why I wanted to transition to the main reason I wanted to have you on here. I wanted to see if you could like tap into spirit now, because we know that on the other side of this, there's good things, right? But
Yeah.
right now, what's spirit telling us in America specifically, because we're in the United States, and in the world generally, how's this going to pan out in the next few weeks? I just want to know what spirit's saying about this conflict.
Yeah, I love that. Let me just tap in here really quick and see what spirit has to say. Yeah, so I'm getting a big focus on just paying attention to what brings you peace and love. And this big theme that I actually heard today in several different messages for different people was the theme of the message was fear not. And also it's so funny because growing up, I wouldn't consider myself religious necessarily anymore, but scripture still comes to me because I know a lot of it, and that's how spirit speaks to us, right? And so that's scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. The other thing I'm really tapping into right now is, it's as much as you can, try not to fret over things that you legitimately cannot control. The Spirit's saying everybody has a time to be born and a time to die. And so don't worry about this being the end of the world, right? If it's not your time, it's not your time. Good things are coming, right? And so I think that really tapping into your joy right now is going to be significant. I think that I'm getting right now that whoever's watching this podcast, there's some fear about America changing, right? And I think you need to leave room for America maybe changing for the better. There's not going to be any going away of America. Take this how it resonates for you, everybody, but you're going to have to place some trust in the present administration, whether or not you are excited about that. I've gotten this a lot too. They are here to bring about change. So regardless of whether or not you agree, there's something about this shift, this age of Aquarius that's coming into focus. And I'm also hearing very loud and clear right now, do not make an apparent other your enemy. Just seek to understand people, right? But just so much love, don't fear. There's nothing to be afraid of right now. Albeit the world is showing you otherwise, but there's nothing to fear.
That's beautiful. And that there's a lot of talk about we shouldn't watch the news so much. My problem is I'm a geopolitical investor. I have to watch the news every day. That's how I've been trading.
Yeah.
And so what do you say to people who they can't help but see a lot of this aspect going on?
Yep. And this is so great because this applies to not just right now, but always. As a spirit having a human experience, we can detach our spirit from our body mind and look objectively on the body mind. The body mind can have a slew of emotions going on, and you don't have to get your spirit, your true beingness doesn't need to suffer, right? So you can have fear, you can have anxiety, you can have anger, you can have joy. But in those moments when you're spinning, and you can even do this right now, in those moments where you're spinning, just take a moment. Just take a couple deep breaths, put your focus on kind of your heart center, solar plexus area. Just kind of feel that peace and love washing over you, the beingness that you are. And all those thoughts and feelings and emotions you're having in this moment, without trying to change a thing, just place your loving awareness on those emotions. Just like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to change it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to push it away or keep it. You can just observe. And as you place your loving awareness on that, knowing you're so loved for whatever emotion is going on right now, you can kind of step back from your body mind as spirit, and you can observe your body mind having its emotions and having its feelings and its wants. But notice that your spirit is undeterred, unperturbed. Your spirit is just fine. So while there may be pain going on, you can detach from suffering, right? You can detach from this identification with the body. So when we identify with the body mind, we jump into the middle of those emotions and we allow them to just overwhelm us and swamp us, right? So again, step back from that and just place your loving awareness on those emotions, allow them to be there, and then step back as spirit and look at your body mind as an observer, knowing that your spirit is perfectly fine and that there is no death. Your body will die, your spirit will go back into perfect love, and there will be no interruption of consciousness. That is the second coming of Christ and the Christ awareness that people are experiencing right now.
So that's beautiful. And I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, good. I think, it's just, if you can't help it, that's you totally makes sense, right? But you can detach in the way that is as best you can, right? Doesn't mean you have to go stick your head in the ground. In fact, I think actually we're being called as people who are coming into this Christ conscious awareness of our spiritual nature. We got to go. There was a time where we were hermiting. There was a time when we were developing our spiritual awareness and all these things. But now we are being called to go into the world and just be a light, just be love to people, not try to convict them of anything or change their minds on anything, but just love people. And I think the best way to do this also is to shine your own light. So, what you're doing, Javier, is profoundly important by shining your light. And I think that we need more men to do exactly what you're doing because you're speaking about some success. And I think that's wonderful because I'm seeing men who have stepped into their compassion and their empathy and those kinds of amazing gifts. They are really being promoted right now. So I think that's really lovely.
Precisely. So it's a great time, and it seems to all be converging now. So now, with regards to like the timeline of this, I think probably doing this, like detaching, going within, is probably a great way to collapse the timeline. Anything else that you're hearing from Spirit? Like, how do we be peacemakers? Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." How can we stop this? I'm sure we could stop this if we brought enough energy to it.
I think you're absolutely right. I think so. What I've been hearing a lot is lean into what makes your heart sing. And so that resonance, right? We talk about heart coherence. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. And people just radiating this heart coherence or this love coherence from their heart center, it impacts everybody around you, right? So, like, sometimes you get around a person and their vibe is off, and you're like, oh, that person, that's energy is tough. Well, the opposite can be true. You can lean into what is giving your heart joy and just really tune into that love and peace inside of you and that spirit that you are and just really emanate. And I spend some time every morning just sitting in this power of love, this feeling of love. I almost feel it like it's blood going through my body, just circulating through my body. And I really think as we enter the world with that frequency, because we all have a frequency, that does have a serious impact on everybody around us. And I think that's the best thing we can do is like, to the best of your ability, and don't ever feel guilty if you feel fearful. Don't ever feel guilty if you feel angry, because that just makes it worse. To the best of your ability, generate this feeling of love and peace in your heart. And you can even picture yourself, picture your aura expanding with that peace and love. And just picture yourself as you walk into a room, that peace and love comes out from you. Tune into projects that make your heart sing. Tune into people that make your heart sing. Really focus on what brings your body, mind, rest, and joy. And I think that really does multiply and it really does gain momentum.
That's beautiful. So,
and if there's something specific that needs to happen, if there's something that's like, hey,
please.
I need to go take action, that will come to you very naturally and you'll know what you need to do in the moment versus feeling like you've got to rally and campaign and all the things, right?
Exactly. It's like people think we need to plan it, and we don't need to plan it. It's like I always find that when I drop the plan and just sort of receive the next step, things always unfold smoothly. But when I try to plan it, that's when I screw myself up.
Totally. And it works out best for everybody, right? Like I found that spirit, like when you just like in it, I'm talking to myself because I'm a type A. Ashley's body mind is type A. And
Oh,
so,
sure.
When we start to get involved and try to sway things the way we think we see best, it may work good for some people and may not for others, right? Versus like spirit working it out on your behalf and all of our behalf, it works out for our highest and best good. And that's an intention you can set. Spirit asks you to bring me into alignment with the right people, the right circumstances, the right jobs, the right area I need to be living in for everybody's highest and best good, to make an impact on the planet for everybody's highest and best good. And you'd be surprised the amount of alignment you'll come into pretty quickly doing that.
Yes, it's just, and again, it's sort of like the Bible says, you have to die. It's not like a literal death, but you have to sort of die to your old self and just let it go. Say, Father, Jesus, I'm just going to let go and I'm just going to allow this to happen.
Yep. And that's, and the thing is, I think the misnomer with that is people think that that means you're not going to feel it. You will still feel the frustration. You will still feel the fear. You'll still feel the anger, but you can step back and you can just see your body, mind having those emotions, look on yourself with loving awareness, knowing that you don't have to go in and identify with that body. It's not a dissociating thing. You allow those emotions and you love yourself for those emotions. But at the same time, you know that that's not the real you, and it's just temporary.
Precisely. Well, thanks. You've given us a lot of food for contemplation and meditation, and I just wanted to hear that. I wanted to hear that spiritual word about what's going on. So you see that we're basically gonna go through this. It's going to be peaceful. It's not going to be something that's going to damage us spiritually. And you think that we'll get out of this soon? That's what Spirit is saying.
Yeah, I think honestly, if everybody thinks about it, we've been in this stuff for a while, right?
That is true.
So there may be the outward expression of warfare at the moment, but what I was hearing earlier today too is that what's going on outside has been kind of going on within us for a long time, right? And so
that's true.
I think that this is just the final purging of that. And regardless of this second coming of Christ, this awareness of Christ consciousness, is an epidemic of love. And I know that good things come of that. And so the other thing is, it's not just like the Christian religious people saying it. The astrology supports it. And I forget the quote. It's like, if you want to be a millionaire, pay attention to the stock market. If you want to be a billionaire, pay attention to the stars. And I believe that was JP Morgan said that.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's who said it. It's a wealthy person, very successful in business. Point being, the support is there for the change that's going to be very positive. And that's already happened. And I think this is just kind of playing out. It's kind of just a final purge of the yuck.
That has to happen in every cycle. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on. And I appreciate you giving us these words. And it's always good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Good. All right. Then hopefully we'll have you on very soon. And we'll be talking about the next move in the cycle.
The next wonderful thing. I'm certain that that's going to be
that's wonderful thing.
I can't wait.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.